Right, this video focuses on rounding, and we're going to look at rounding to decimal places. Okay, the next video will look at rounding to significant figures. This is rounding to decimal places. If you need a update on rounding to the nearest 10, the nearest unit, the nearest 100, let me know and I'll quickly make you a video on that. Okay, but we're going to go straight for rounding to decimal places. So, I've written here a key point about rounding, which says if the number next door is 5 or more, you round up. If it's not, it stays the same. Now, you don't ever round down, okay? So the numbers can never go down. They can either stay the same or they go up, all right? So just be aware of that, okay? This is the key thing to remember. If the number next door is 5 or more, round up. Keep saying that to yourself. If the number next door is 5 or more, round up, okay? Right, so when we are rounding to one decimal place, that is asking you to have one number after the decimal point, okay? We want one number after the decimal point. So, if it's asking, and then if it's asking us to round to 3 decimal places, we want 3 numbers after the decimal point. If it was asking you to round to 2 decimal places, it would mean 2 numbers after the decimal point, etc., etc. Okay, right, so here we go. We're going to just kick off with some examples. This is asking us to round these numbers to 1 decimal place. Okay, now this is how I would like you to do it. So, if it wants you to round to 1 decimal place, I want you to underline the first decimal place, so the first number after the decimal point. So here is our first number after the decimal point. We then look at the number next door. If this number next door is 5 or more, this rounds up. If it's not, it stays the same. So as that is not more than 5, that stays as an 8. These numbers don't change, so it's 46.8. Okay, question 2. We're rounding to 1 decimal place. So here's the first decimal place. Here's the number next door. If that is 5 or more, we round that up, but it's not, so that stays the same. So it's 516.9. Okay, you don't need to put the zeros on the end because that would be more than 1 decimal place. Okay, and it doesn't change the value of the number if you do that. Right, question 3. 8.78. So here's the first decimal place. Is the number next door 5 or more? Yes. So instead of going to that being a 7, it goes to the next number up, so it goes 8. If the number next door is 5 or more, you round up. So that stays as an 8 at the beginning, and that goes to an 8, 8.8. Question 4. First decimal place. Is the number next door 5 or more? No. So it's 10.0. Now, it might seem very strange to you to write 10.0 because we know that 10.0 is just 10. However, if the question asks you to do 1 decimal place, the examiner is expecting to see 1 decimal place. And if we didn't have the 0, there wouldn't be 1 decimal place on there. Okay, so if it asks for 1 decimal place, we do need to put it on even if it's just a 0. Okay, right, number 5, 16.99. So here's my first decimal place. Here's my number next door, which is 5 or more. Now, obviously, if I round up a 9, it goes to a 10. Now, what that means is it bumps into the next bit. Okay, so that is going to go to 17.0. And again, like this one, we need the 0.0 on because it asks us to give it to 1 decimal place. If you're struggling with these ones, think about it. So because I'm pushing this one up, this has got to go up. It has to bump that up because otherwise it's going to go into a 10. Okay? If you take a step back from what we've just done, think about if something costs you £16.99, that's roughly £17, isn't it? Okay, so that's how you might want to think about it for rounding those tricky ones. Okay, right, we're going to go to rounding to 2 decimal places, and then we're going to save significant figures for the next video. Okay, so here we go, 2 decimal places. Can we see that? Let's wait for it to get into focus. There we go. Right, if we want to round to 2 decimal places, we're going to underline our second decimal place. So here's our second decimal place. Here's the number next door. If that number there is 5 or more, we round this up. So the other numbers stay the same. Don't start rounding the other numbers. That's going to round up, so that will go to 9. So it's 47.39. Question 2. 6.058. Where's my second decimal place? Here's my second decimal place. Here's the number next door. Is that 5 or more? Yes. So that rounds to a 6. So it's 6.06. You'll notice none of the other numbers change. Okay, it's just the number that I've underlined, unless it's a 9 and it has to bump it into the 10. Question 3, 1349.809. Where's my second decimal place? Is the number next door 5 or more? Yes, so it's going to be 1349.8. That's got to go up 81. Number 4, 15.003. Where's my second decimal place? Is the number next door 5 or more? No, so that stays as a 0. And again, 15.00. We think, well, why wouldn't we just write 15? But the question asks, what is it to 2 decimal places? That is what it is to 2 decimal places. Okay? Check out the next video for significant figures.